You can have a lot of wind, but if your sails aren't angled in the right direction, you could be moving fast, but not going in the direction that you want to go. You could be not moving at all because your sails just aren't able to capture it. Or you could actually be moving fast in the direction that you want to go. As somebody who's now scaled a business tremendously, what is it that allows you to capture the potency of your intellect, to understand that just making content doesn't do it? The content has to be aimed in a direction. It has to have a goal in mind. How would you teach entrepreneurs how to quote unquote angle the sails?
Basically, I look back at stuff I did and see what worked better than other stuff. And then I say, okay, well, the top 10%, what things did they have in common? And then the bottom 10% or the bottom half, what things did those lack compared to the top 10%? And then I try and do a next batch of activities, whether it's phone calls, whether it's content, whether it's product iterations, that then do more of the thing that worked. And so that process has been, I think, the fastest feedback loop that I've had. So rather than trying to find like a specific course around something super niche, which gets really difficult the more niche it is, I rely on the universe for feedback. We have to try 100 repetitions of whatever the thing is, look at the top 10 or 20%, look at the common factors, and then do a whole next batch of 100 with those common factors. If performance goes up, then the variables that we isolated were the correct ones. And then within that next batch, there will be another top 10 or 20% that by variation of repetition, which will always happen, there will be other mutations like in DNA that occurred in that subset that I can then replicate again. And that process is how I got good at sales. It's how I started making content. But I think the first piece that people prevent themselves from doing is doing the 100 repetitions. It's the fallacy of the perfect pick. Like they're going to get it all right so that they don't have to fail the first time. It's one of my favorite scenes in The Matrix is when Neo tries to jump across both buildings and then he falls in Cypher. Everyone's like, what does it mean? And he's like, everybody falls the first time. So even the one falls the first time, obviously wasn't the one, then whatever, we can get into that. But I just like failure as an assumption rather than something to avoid. Like Elon was able to get the rockets up because he failed 5 times faster than people were able to do one. So he got 5 failed rockets out before he got a 6th. And everybody was looking at the 5 failures, but he's like, well, look at how much further we got with each one.